When I was miserable and unfulfilled, I asked myself this one question, and it led me to my purpose. And maybe this one question can do the same for you. Join me.
Life happens while we're making plans. No dress rehearsals, we get no second chance.
Hi, my angels, and welcome. I'm Kim. Welcome to this channel where it's not about age, it's actually about mindset. And this channel is for women who have lived and know that there is still so much more for them, more that they want to do, be, and become. So this channel is for women, no matter if you're 45, 75, or outside of those boundaries. It's for women who have something in their heart that they know that they still must do, still more that they must be and become. Maybe it's a dream that's been weighing heavy on you for your entire life and you have yet to step into it. This channel is for you, and this video is definitely for you. So I said that this one question really answered a lot of questions for me, and it led me into my purpose. And before I tell you what that question is, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and how this one question changed my life. I remember when I was unfulfilled, I was unhappy, I was really miserable because I was going through the motions, just doing a job that I did not love. I was, and I still am, the mom of 3 beautiful daughters. And I knew that a big part of my purpose was obviously to raise these girls. And if you have children, that is an obvious part of your purpose, right? But at the same time, I knew that there was more for me. And I became a soloist in 9th grade. I've always been comfortable on stage from the time I was in kindergarten. And I was just one of those kids that got picked out to do things on stage. And to be honest, acting was always my first love. But I became a singer in 9th grade. But not a singer as in, okay, this is what you're going to pursue or anything like that. And as a matter of fact, in high school, I don't think I really valued the gift that God had given me. Other people did. Went to college, studied marketing and communications and marketing, came out, and I was still working my part-time job that I had acquired in college, which was singing on a dinner cruise. And my dad came up to see me about 3 months after I graduated, and he said, I didn't send you to college to do this. You need to get a real job. And that's what I did. And I can tell you that every time I got a job, I felt like I was being suffocated. Does anybody understand what that feels like? Are you going through the motions of doing what you have to do to survive, but inside you feel like life is being sucked away? Because that's how I felt. My husband said to me, there's no point in you being miserable. I hadn't even told anybody besides maybe my husband what I wanted to do because I almost felt embarrassed. And so that brings me to, are you feeling embarrassed about this thing that is weighing on you? Because for me, the singing thing kept bubbling up. I kept pushing it down, then it bubbled back up, and it wouldn't go away. And it came to a point where I knew I needed to do something with that. But because it was so impractical, because recording, etc., costs money, I felt like, my obligation is to my family, and that's where my money should be going, and I just need to keep my head straight and continue doing what I'm doing and leave that alone. If that's you, I want you to comment for me. I finally decided, okay, let me do this thing. I wrote a song. I didn't think I could write music or lyrics, because I don't write music, but I wrote the lyrics to the song, and it just flowed so incredibly easily. Within a week, that song was done, and really most of it in one day. I gave it to a radio station because I was in marketing, and I knew the radio people in my area, and I just put it in his hand, CD, back in the day. And he said, well, I'm not giving you any promises, because, he didn't know me as a singer. He only knew me as a marketing person. He never came back to me, never answered me. And a few weeks later, I was walking through a store, and I heard my music piping through the store from the radio. And that changed not just my life, but the lives of other people. I had people who were looking for that song. They were calling other radio stations and requesting this song. So much so, to the point where radio stations started calling that one radio station and asking for that song because they were getting so many requests. And that song played in constant rotation for 9 months locally. I live in Nassau, Bahamas. It's a small place, but locally. It was before the time of things going viral, but it went viral on the radio stations when people listened to radio. And it taught me a valuable lesson because people were getting back to me and saying, oh my God, that song, it's just like you were singing my life, and that song changed my life. I quit my job because of that song. I started something new. I started a business that I love because of that song. I moved to another country because of that song. So I realized that me sharing my music and actually stepping out into this thing that kept bubbling back up and I wanted to ignore had nothing to do with me and everything to do with the people that it was intended to service. And so if you have something that is bubbling up over and over, that thing that keeps you up at night that you have not stepped into, I just want to encourage you to do it. And if you're not sure how to test that, this is the question I asked myself. What would be the one thing that if you were on your deathbed, you would regret not going hard, full-fledged, and running with reckless abandon to do? What would be that one thing? Because at the end of your life, I think you probably start to think about what's the legacy that I'm leaving? What's the imprint that my life made? And for me, it was stepping fully into my music as best I could. So ask yourself that question. What's the one thing that if you were on your deathbed that you would regret not doing? That will lead you to your purpose, because your purpose is not about you. It's about the people that you were born to serve. And so there are people who are waiting for you to do what you're supposed to do so that they can do what they're supposed to do. It has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with the people that you were born to serve. And I believe that we all come to this planet with something that we were born to serve to the world. But because the world is so noisy, when we hit this planet, we can't remember what that was. And people tell you, oh, you can make money being a doctor. You should be a lawyer. You should be an Indian chief, whatever the case may be. And people run behind money and they forget the reason that they're here. And then they're unhappy because they're living their lives going through the motions. But what they were born to do, they're not doing. I'm not saying that you can't be doing what you were born to do even in your job, but know that you are serving what it is that you've been given to serve this world. And if you can say, you know what, at the end of my life, I will feel fulfilled that I gave everything that I was supposed to give this world, then I would say you are in your purpose. But if you have something that you've been pushing down and making excuses about and feeling like you're too old or it's too late or it's impractical, it costs too much, I don't have what it takes, I don't know who I need to know, then that's the thing. If it's bigger than you, more than likely, that's the thing. I want to encourage you. Don't sit on it a minute longer. Start moving in the direction of what you know is a part of your reason for being here. If this message resonates for you, like this video and subscribe to this channel, because there's so much more to come.
Nobody knows. As I look back, it's plain to see. Instead of living life, life's living me.